We want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom and a happy new month of Nissan. This Shabbat we bring out two Torahs, and it's Parsha Hachodesh, one of the most precious mitzvahs, the first mitzvah actually, that God gave us as a nation, right? The first book of the Torah only has 3 mitzvahs, and those are only applied to individual people on a micro level. The first mitzvah that is given to us as one nation under God is the mitzvah of sanctifying the month of Rosh Chodesh and the calendar, and somebody that I just fell in such deep love. I mean, I've always been a fan of his, but recently I've just realized how great of a thought giant in Jewish thought he was Rav Gedalaya Shor, the great Rosh Hashiva of Torah V'das, which really is so amazing in his knowledge of Hasidic thought and Gra thought and Maharal thought. I never seen anything like it. So he says that obviously the second Torah that we read is in honor of Rosh Chodesh Nissan, which we Jews really have 2 New Years. One New Year is in the fall on Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah, which is the Day of Judgment, but we have another New Year of love. Right, because God says this is your new month, this is your new year, and it's more a positive, right? We're not, right? Everything in the Torah is based on 2 fundamental things. We always have to love God and fear God. This Rosh Hashanah is more of love. That's why we read Shir Hashirim. It shows our love affair with God, and it says in the Torah, black and white, this is your first month of all your months. So it's a Jewish New Year. And that's in Shemot, chapter 12, Pasuk 2. Now, the great Italian scientist and rabbi and doctor, the Siporno, explains that very simply, why did this have to be the first mitzvah? On a simplistic level, the first mitzvah that God gave the nation of Israel has to be the Jewish calendar. Because if we don't know, we can't calculate the holidays, right? If you don't know the concept of the new month, and right, when are you going to fast on Yom Kippur? When are you going to, because we just spent half an hour with the umbrellas explaining if you don't keep Shabbat, it's a death penalty, so you better know. And it's also, you get Malkut if you don't keep the holidays, or Yom Kippur is also like Shabbat. So definitely, but he says a deeper thing also, that, a slave has no jurisdiction over his time. The greatest gift is that you could do with your time and build a beautiful little universe for yourself. Create some beautiful, beautiful character, and such precious time is so precious and fleeting. So the freedom of using your time wisely was the gift of this first mitzvah of the Torah, because he's hijacked. We were slaves. We didn't have jurisdiction over our time, right? You're like the sadistic Egyptians could have always done. They could at any given time. Right? They used to make us work in the middle of the night. That's why God brought the plague of darkness upon them, right? But now God is saying, you will not be subjugated to I'm going to be your master, and I'm going to give you the freedom to develop your time into a great thing. And Rav Gedalaya Shor basically says the whole idea we're trying to bring out here, Kabbalistically and Hasidic and in Jewish thought, this idea of Rosh Chodesh is the magical and glorious power of renewal. Which means, many times we get, life is like a roller coaster. Sometimes we're really high, sometimes we're really low. I don't know anybody that's always been high, right? Sometimes we get into, God knows. Everybody has their own nightmare. But one thing you have to know is that we Jews, by God giving us, there's a reason. Everything in the Torah is very calculated. Beyond nuclear calculated. If God, the Hasidic and Kabbalistic and Maharal explained that if God gave this first mitzvah, God is telling the Jews, you guys are above time. A Jew should never give up on life, because it's like the moon. Sometime in our life we become so small and insignificant. But again, if you have patience and perseverance, you're going to come back. So the mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh is such an important mitzvah in today that so many people they give up on life and they're depressed. It's the energy to realize that we could always rejuvenate, reestablish, reinvent, overhaul our life, refresh our life, advance our life, and modernize our life. Right? Like Rabbi Franz said, in the 12 Shilma shots. It's never too late to become better, to learn Daf Yomi. Start learning Torah. It's never too little. Even if you learn a line, that's significant, and it's never enough. Because Rav Moshe Feinstein finished Shas 400 times. So, now coming back to the month is the symbol of the Jewish nation. You know that. Just like we Jews are compared to the Yonah, the dove bird, in Jewish thought, we're also compared to what? The moon. Now, why is that? He says a fascinating thing. Like I just said before, it waxes and wanes, the moon. Sometimes it's gloriously big, sometimes it's gloriously small. And sometimes in Judaism, we have Holocaust that we're a hair, we're almost wiped out, like the moon. You don't see it. Like, where are the Jews? But sometimes, hopefully, that's the idea that when Mashiach comes, the moon is going to be 70 times more powerful than the sun. Shiva 7 times more powerful. So the Maharal explains a fascinating idea, and with this we're going to finish. He says that Kabbalistically, the Maharal explains in Gvurot Hashem, chapter 46. And he asks a very important question. Why are all the Jewish holidays connected to the seasons? It's clear. This year, we just talked about the rain that we had to deal with every Shabbat. The reason why we have 2 Adars, that we're still on the 26th or 27th day of Adar tonight, is because we have to ensure, not like the Muslims, we have to ensure that Passover must always be in the spring. Sukkot must always be when we collect our fruit. Shavuot, it says this black and white in the Torah. Shavuot always needs to be in the harvest of the wheat, when the wheat gets ripened. Why is that, the Maharal says? What's the deep theological, ethical idea there? So he says a beautiful thing. I'm learning this with this is like the basics, ABCs of Kabbalah. Everything you see in the physical world is a manifestation of really what's happening in the heavens, which means we're like puppets, the Nefesh HaChaim says here. The real world is not this world. This is the fake world. The real world is what? The spiritual world. So basically, Rav Gedalia Shor says that if you see in the time of Passover, it's a time of freedom. It's a time of Rosh Chodesh, right? It's a time of renewal and reinvestment in yourself and repairing yourself, right? It means not only, you'll appreciate this if you ever go to Russia or East Coast, you'll see that literally Rav Hirsch writes this. The whole world is dead in the winter for many months. We're lucky to be in LA in eternal spring. But many parts of the world, you don't see one green leaf on even one tree. The only tree that in Alaska and many parts of the world are green is the evergreen tree. All other trees are totally dead. Spring is like a techiyat hametim. The Maharal explains the Torah is telling you that spring where everything comes back to life, that's only the physical manifestation. The real rejuvenation of life is in the heavens, where God is sending a spiritual energy, which means we can become new people. We could repair ourselves. It's never too late. You never should give up on yourself. You could easily refresh yourself. Just like the moon automatically, inevitably is going to get great and glorious, right? Towards the middle of the month. You also have that power. And that's why the Torah is saying, all these different seasons, right? The Ramchal says this, Yisod. Our holidays are not just like July 4th, commemorating a historical event. The same way the Jews became free from Paro, you could become free from your personal workaholism, your personal limits. So just to finish this marvelous idea, the Maharal and the Gra writes this, and this is a backbone of Jewish belief. We Jews are not only in charge of time, we're above time, which means we Jews are unlimited. God, by giving us the mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh, is saying, yes, the physical world has its limits, but you, like it says in Kohelet, It says Hevel Havalim Tachadash, En Chadash Tachadash Shemesh. There's nothing new under the sun. But above the sun, right? It's like Rav Dessler says. He says, what's greater, Techiyat HaMetim, the resurrection of the dead, or Tshuva? He says Tshuva is much greater. Because Techiyat HaMetim, you're just renewing your body. Teshuva, you're renewing your soul. And the soul is eternal. You understand? That's, he said on the bull eye. The power of this month of Nissan, and this is why we bring out the second Torah, is saying that we Jews, like Mark Twain even realized this, we're timeless, we're limitless. If we tap into the power of the Torah, just like God, is God limited by nature?
No.
So here, we are His nation. Torah has this spiritual nuclear power to realize that never give up on life. To reiterate, like the dear Rabbi Franz said, the Rosh Medabrim Mikol Makom, we have an unfathomable potential, and the time to tap into that and take that vitamin is now. You could always reinvent yourself. It's never too late, it's never too little, and it's never enough, because our potential is all unlimitedly great. May Hashem help us to really grow and become better Jews and bring Mashiach. Finally, we need him in this desperate time where there's so much anti-Semitism, and this should be, like we say in the Seder, Lashana Haba, we should be in where? Yerushalayim.